Do you see the standard of journalism slipping, especially for the main newspaper, Straits Times, over the years?
Oh, I don't think the quality is slipping. I think it's gone off the cliff. I mean,
Now, if I were to ask you about the best Christmas gift you've ever received, I'm sure it would be something that was not the brightest or shiniest object, but something that was thoughtful and heartfelt, right? So if you'd like to give something as meaningful to your loved ones this Christmas, how about an audio recording of your favorite stories, memories, and well wishes for them in your own voice? I'm talking about Folklory, which is something we've helped hundreds of customers from around 20 countries create for the people in their lives. All we'll need is a 30-minute phone call with you or someone you nominate, and we'll turn that conversation into a podcast that your loved ones can listen to anytime they want. And to make it even more special, we'll deliver it to you as a limited edition Folklory cassette. It's a Bluetooth speaker, styled as a good old mixtape, that'll come preloaded with your recording. We launched this cassette last year and our entire batch was sold out for Christmas. People loved it, which is why we're offering it once again this year. So order by 31st October to guarantee a cassette delivered to you by Christmas. Slots are limited, so the earlier you book, the better. You can find out all the information you need at folklory.com along with examples and reviews from previous customers. The link is in the show notes, so please check it out, because we'd love to help you create something special. And now, on to the podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be talking about news, definitely, but also the future with someone who has a lot of experience in news.
Yeah, been a long time coming.
Been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And we would like to extend a warm welcome to Bertha Henson, who's with us. She is the ex-associate editor of the Straits Times, published author, and current online political and social commentator extraordinaire.
Chill. Thank you very much. What a way to describe me. Extraordinary.
Did he leave out anything?
Extraordinaire.
Did he leave out anything? Because I think your resume is really long, right? Did he leave out? What's the most important parts that he left out?
Yeah.
If anything.
Anything. I still continue to practice journalism in some way.
That's right. Yeah.
And
that's
how so?
important.
How?
I mean, when I do social political commentaries or when I want to go and cover an event, I just do it by myself. I think the term people use on me is independent journalist. Oh my God.
Independent journalist.
Yeah. I asked Charing George, he was the one who described me as that. And I said, hey, what do you mean by this? He said, that means you're not accredited or employed by anyone. So you are on your own. So I said, okay lah. That sounds good enough to me.
I mean, you ran the online publications like the Middle Ground back in the day. I remember reading a lot of that and all as well. So do you consider that independent journalism in the sense compared to like Wake Up Singapore these days, people say alternative news site.
I never saw myself as anything alternative. I just wanted to provide another mainstream voice. And mainstream voices can be very different, different types of mainstream. I just wanted basically to be another mainstream voice of professional quality. Yeah, so I'm not interested in any kind of agendas.
I see.
But why did you start it? Because you were in SPH for 26 years.
Yes.
Right. Why did you leave? Why did you start like your own platform? What do you think the gap was?
Actually, I have to bring it back a bit further. So after I quit, I went to the university to teach. And it's just that I saw this whole bunch of undergraduates who were interested in writing, in journalism. So I just pitched it to my bosses and said, I start something like this. So we started with Breakfast Network.
That's right, yeah.
And that was total pro bono. And I had a lot of help from ex-journalists. And, basically, just using my own money, come out, whatever, And basically, we just ran the place. A bunch of, young energy, all youthful energy and a couple of the old fellas helping out here and there.
Yeah.
Then after that, I think if they wanted to get me registered and all that. And for the life of me, I was so upset because, I'm running this thing. I only just set it up as a company. But I have all these undergrads, all pro bono people. Do I really want, to put them under this kind of scrutiny?
So you've been registered as a media publication?
Yeah. Because that time they started that. So I didn't want to. So I dropped it. And then when the middle ground was because an ex-Breakfast Network person sort of got the money together or whatever and say, hey, but don't start now. So I said, okay, but I just want to do editorial work. Don't ask me go sell or whatever. I don't want to do the business part of it. So that was how it started. Then, good journalism is expensive. All right. I mean, you want to pay slave labor rates, you will get slave labor reporting now. But actually, I've always said good journalism requires maybe at most 4 or 5 very strong people.
Yeah.
Then the rest can be slaves. It's all right. So basically, it's people who can edit, set the direction, set the tone, tell people what to do. They go and do, they come back, tell people how to do it, and hopefully along the way, they build it up. You don't need many good journalists. You just need a very core group who can direct people. So the middle ground was based that way. But even then, my publisher, it just couldn't get off the ground after a while. Yeah.
But I mean, you just go back to what you said about journalism's expensive and needing to have a good core group. Like nowadays, you see publications, hiring very young people who are not necessarily even from media or communication space. Sure. Maybe they can talk in front of camera, in front of their phones. On TikTok, they're very popular and they can create viral content. So what do you mean when you say journalism is expensive? What is the skill that a young journalist would have versus, say, a TikTok creator who attends Parliament?
I don't know any TikTok creator, so I have no idea what that involves. Okay,
sure.
But I tell you, people seem to think journalism is easy because you see the thing, I also can do it. You see something that you can read and it's so easy to read, I also can do it. But hey, hello, there's a lot of skill involved in getting first the information and getting the full information and then basically putting the information in a way that is significant or important or interesting for whoever is watching or reading you. And that itself is a very fine skill. So my great problem is people seem to think it's so easy. It's not easy at all. So, when people seem to be very proud, so I have some people who come to me and say, I'm so glad I'm not a journalist. I am, an independent, I don't know, blogger or God knows what, influencer kind. I say, I'm very sorry for you, because journalism teaches you some principles to adhere to. Like for example, if I say, I think you're stupid, then you better make sure that when you write it or whatever, say that it's me who said it. This thing is called attribution. I have this column in my blog called Bertha Basics. And it's about the basics of journalism. Like when you name people, how do you get out of defamation or whatever? What headlines are for? How do you write about numbers? Is there a way to talk about numbers that doesn't, turn people off?
Yeah.
So all these are skills that people seem to think, it will come. It won't.
And you learned that all through experience, or was it any education, formal education?
No, I mean, those days, sorry, I'm quite old. I got no journalism school.
Sorry.
So I'm actually a grad in econs and political science and stats. So I don't have any journalism experience. It basically was my professor, Channing Chi.
Channing Chi.
She knew that I didn't want to continue doing my honours degree. She's trying to persuade me. I said, no, I'm going to a bank because I'm actually supposed to join a bank at that point in time. And she just looked at me and she said, huh? A bank? She said, have you thought of journalism? No. So it was quite by accident.
I see.
So
I do follow your writings, and a lot of times you really you focus on like how, for example, Straits Times headlines are written, and you do critiques of the headlines and all. Do you see the standard of journalism slipping, especially for the main newspaper, Straits Times, over the years? And I mean, like you said, there wasn't school last time, but now there's a school for communications journalism. How come it seems to be going the opposite direction of what you the trajectory you saw last time?
Oh, I don't think the quality is slipping. I think it's gone off the cliff. I mean, Ayo, what's slipping? No, I think, journalism school can only do so much.
Yeah.
Like for example, when I was in SD, the first batch of journalism students came on board.
Yeah.
And you can see they know the basics already. And then there are, of course, the rest who have no journalism. So they have to learn a few things, how to write intro and that kind of thing. But then after a while, your advantage will stop, no? After 1 year, let's say, because fellas who are smarter, who are more hungry, they will surpass you with or without your degree. So it doesn't matter. It's a very, very small advantage that you have at the beginning. So maybe you open the door. You get through the door. But after that, it doesn't mean you can climb up the stairs too. So that's one thing about journalism. Now you're asking me about the why, since there's journalism school, so that's one response. The other response is quite a lot of this comes about on the job. Is drilling. Actually, journalism is a far more military operation than anything else. You have to drill. I mean, I remember at Middle Ground, you see, one of the things young people find hard to do is they find it hard to go and talk to people they don't know. Go out and interview someone. Say, how do I go and approach this fella? I don't know the fella, right? So what I made them do, as a matter of course, I will set them a target. Okay, in 3 days, I want you to find 50 people. I want full name, I want address, I want age. No, I don't want address. Full name, age, occupation, and one quote and a picture. So first time, it's like super jialat for them, But after a while, it became easier and easier. And they can't get away from it, I will tell them, only in Toa Payoh, only in here, or this age group, and none of them are your friends, So basically, once they got the drill, it's just so easy. So it's a lot of it is drilling. It's like when I write now, I still maintain some house style. If I quote someone, I will say this fella said what, I maintain the discipline that was imposed on a daily basis on the way I write or use words. So for that you need people who to pass on. So so your middle management must be quite good. It must be quite solid, so that they can pass on day by day, tell you. I mean, look, okay, I'll give you an example.
Sure.
Today, there's this story on 20,000 COEs or something, right? Being added. Then there's this other story which says injection of COEs may dampen short-term demand, unclear about long-term effects or something of that nature.
Okay.
No journalist would use the word may.
Oh, okay.
I cannot understand these days. I'm reading so much may or could, or set to or expected. That's not journalism, no. Journalism is what happened today, what's happening now, what happened yesterday.
So, sorry, because I'm not trained in journalism, but just understanding that you're saying that journalists shouldn't be trying to project into the future based on the news today?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when you do a news report, you are reporting what has happened or what is happening.
Okay.
What will happen is basically an announcement someone is making, which may or may not happen, or it's an analysis of what you think based on what has happened will happen. Do you get what I mean? Can you?
So they shouldn't be parroting what is in the press release, basically.
I mean, basically, what... I mean, if they tell me what will, actually it's better than what may.
But then where do you draw the line between, like what you said, reporting facts versus almost having an editorial take or analysis on it?
No, I basically think reporting facts are facts. Basically, which facts are more important? The fella predicting something, or the fella who said this has happened and I can prove it? It's just that, So has this happened? If you say this may happen, why should I consider the may happen more important than what has happened? So I don't see it as an opinion. I'm more or less seeing it as the other fella foisting his opinion on me to report. You get me?
Oh no, I was asking because when you said that it's almost better if the journalist would say this will happen based on their opinion.
No.
Right.
What I'm saying is that if somebody says things like, oh, I'm going to do this, so, maybe this will happen.
Mm.
I'm going to do this, and I'm definitely sure this will happen.
Mm.
That's a different
Okay.
thing.
But is it because like the rules of the game have changed? Because, okay, so, we've been doing media for quite a while now, but it almost feels like talking about certain things in Singapore, you have to be careful. Do you think there's something there that plays into people? Okay, let's not take a stance.
Okay.
Let's keep it ambiguous. And how was it different from when you were a journalist?
Okay. It goes back to reporting the facts, because taking a stance on the facts is a no-brainer. These are the facts, I write the facts, right? You don't have to angle on a May. And that is where journalism comes in. So there must be some finesse in the way you write. You know how to take nuances, no? You know how to turn it around. I keep telling people, why you want to say May? Actually, you can use some other thing. You turn off people when you say May because news is supposed to be concrete. But it's not concrete. May. So, May, should I read or not? I think the other thing people forget is you are really taking up readers' time. I think people forget that. Because people tend to think media should be entertaining or whatever.
Yeah.
But you must remember that you are asking a lot from the person reading you or watching you. So you owe it to that person to come to the point damn quickly. Don't make him waste his time. You know how much time sometimes I waste, right? Going through something, wondering,
what is this?
Yeah, what is that that's supposed to excite me or whatever? And then I find it like in the middle of don't know where. And that's not journalism.
But in some way, a lot of what you do now, right, as a so-called independent journalist, even, for example, the recent Income Alliance deal and everything, I think Tan Swee Chee, he
oh my
he said
God.
that, you helped a lot in passing through a lot of the information, sharing more and encouraging people to read.
Okay,
right?
He didn't quite say that.
Okay, no, yeah.
Journalist,
correct. So, I mean, but doesn't, like, the fact that, ST doesn't cover something very well, it gives you the space and, a playground.
The day I
really
have nothing to say is the day they've succeeded, okay? No, I'm serious, right? I mean, most times when I read, right, I read the news and I can see questions that are not answered or incomplete information being given, and I just basically get so angry and I say, why don't you go and ask all the kind of thing. So that is the way I work now. So if they have done a great job, I don't have to say anything, right? So it's like okay, give you another example. Lee Hsien Yang.
Okay.
He said that he is now a refugee, right? Political exile. And in his statement, he said something to the effect that there's a rising number of Singaporeans who apply for political asylum. So when it came out, I put it up and I said, I hope we get the number of people who are applying for political asylum. And I waited and I waited and I waited and it didn't come until today. And today, you know where it was?
Where?
South China Morning Post.
I see.
But because I don't read the Chinese papers, apparently Zhao Bao got it up a few days ago.
Oh, okay.
So, so things like that these are natural follow-up.
Yeah.
So that you can expand my scope, right? And I don't get it. It's so annoying.
But, in Singapore, like, a lot of times when, journalists or independent journalists ask questions of the establishment, of the civil service, some people say, they frame it as, hey, why are you throwing them under the bus?
I know.
Like, why are you making more work for them? Why are you making more work for them and questioning their integrity and all this? Do you feel that sometimes your role antagonizes the work of these civil servants?
Of course it does. I mean, you want more work. No, frankly speaking, to me, it is natural for newsmakers to not want to give you answers. I think that's the first thing people must remember. No, you ask me, I don't have to tell you.
Yeah.
So you have to persuade me, right? So your job is persuasion, no?
Yeah.
So basically, if they say things like that, I have to persuade lah, right? But I think there's one thing that we've got into a habit of, which I see everywhere and it's not good for the country, is to basically think that every question is an indictment on someone or something. So even if you ask a legitimate question, it's being framed as blame or complain or not happy,
Accusatory.
that kind of thing, or accusation.
Yeah.
If you cannot take that, we will be a very dumb nation, very stupid nation, really. Where, some in the past it happens too. I think much less. But for example, if I go to a press conference, right, then I ask, why are you asking this question? I say, why cannot? Are you implying? I said, it's very simple. No, you must remember I'm a journalist. Don't judge me by the questions I ask. Judge me by how I put it across later. Because if I want to do a good job, I need to know everything. So don't think that you are the expert. No? Give me a thing to cut and paste. No? Because anybody can see it's a cut and paste. No? So sometimes you have to do that education as well. You say, you tell me everything. Then you have to leave it to me. I will do the job. But don't go and impute motives and
Correct.
in my time the thing that was the accusation level was this. No, are you a liberal?
Liberal, I thought.
Liberal.
Liberal. I saw loser.
Oh my God, a liberal. Are you a liberal? With the L word tag in the front, no?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't even know what a liberal was then.
But are you saying that there must be a certain element of trust between the subject and the journalist?
I don't know about trust, no?
Yeah.
I just think it's some respect, no? Not really trust. Because you see, I'm a professional journalist. Why are you trying to tell me what to do, huh? You give it to me, you say this, of course you want your point of view, whatever. I also have my point of view, but I also have my skills. I have my reputation to maintain and all that. Yeah. So respect me, So, I'm the journalist here, not you, no? So I think I don't get that idea, that sense that people understand this, that you don't treat me like nothing,
Sure. Yeah, but do you think that is almost like honesty like that from the perspective of the subject, so be it a politician or someone, is actually in the best interest of Singapore? Because it feels like, as a layperson observing it, sometimes they want to control the narrative. So they're like, why should I tell you? Or are you saying that to have trust and basically not be a dumb nation, there needs to be more transparency and more honesty in terms of answering questions, giving info?
Yes, I agree with that. I also think that, this is the situation we're in when the government is so powerful. So it will want to control the narrative, right? And then you can always come down to say, I won how much election, that kind of thing,
and
right? The will of the people.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even talking about the will of the people and all that. So I can control the narrative. But 4 years or 5 years is a long time. And I think we have reached a stage where we do want people to engage in the discussion of the future. It should not just be, I decide and this is the narrative. If the narrative at the ground does not align with yours, then how? I tell you, the narrative today, for example, I can see where it's going. I mean, you read every day, it's about social inclusion and about mental health.
Yep.
Okay. So, on and on and on, we want to do more for the aging, whatever, disabled, whatever, mental health. So that is their narrative, right? But if I say, okay, good, but, there's another narrative, which is basically, what about, housing prices? What about, COEs?
Yeah.
So, those are narratives that are very important to the ground. But if the media keeps using only the narrative set by government and misses what is the narrative set by the people, wow, you are going to be in big trouble. There's a whole disjoint, in communication.
But so just on that note about talking about the narratives, right? We're about 6 months into Lawrence Wong taking over as Prime Minister. You mentioned that the narrative has been very, quite clear, what they're pushing, right?
Yes.
What do you think so far? How the bold moves about parental leave, work-life balance for families, things like trying to address the cost of living problems with handouts, but also HDB prices. How do you feel that his communication has been in the last few months?
Actually, I'm not sure he's been communicating very much. I mean, he can be quite clear that he steers away from anything that's too hot. Yeah, and I don't think he's being asked questions that are very hot either. I don't see the follow-up questions directed at him,
Okay.
In fact, I think the poor fella is pretty jinxed.
Jinxed.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, what's been happening, right? Oh, MRT lah. And after that, you got what? Iswaran case. And then, what else have you got?
NTUC Income Alliance.
The Income Alliance. And there's so many things happening now. I'm quite sorry for the guy.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am. I am sorry for the guy. And some things are basically not within his control, right?
Yeah.
I mean, your MRT wants to break down. It could be a legacy issue.
Yeah.
Right. And an oil spill is not your fault, right?
Yeah.
But it's all coming together at the same time. So I feel quite sorry for him. And I don't know whether, talking about the social parts of it is good enough. Is good enough to sort of overcome, the other parts of it.
But now that you also do a lot of commentary online, you understand how the internet works and how vile it can be.
Oh yeah, of course I know.
Just now you mentioned that you agree that honest and more transparency in terms of people answering questions is needed for Singapore to progress. But do you think in general people are mature enough to have those sort of conversations? Hearing the honest answers that sometimes you need to confront difficult things, say unpopular things in order to come to a conclusion that works for all.
Yeah, but the trouble is, I think too many people are saying what they think is unpopular things, right? So they say unpopular things and they just think that that's enough. You're not explaining anything, So, I mean, so for example, some people, I mean, it's quite clear on the internet, there's a big group of people who shoot down anything that is anti-establishment, or so to speak. It's very clear. And sometimes they talk rubbish and sometimes they shoot themselves in the foot themselves, So, so what, I'm sorry, what did you say?
No, basically, like, if we want honest answers, are we mature enough as a society to have honest conversations?
My problem is we don't even know the questions to ask. That's the problem. I mean, I can see that happening, I mean, I don't even have enough information to frame a proper question. Then how? So, I mean, the fact that I can poke holes in stories, in news stories, not that. Just shows, I'm not equipped.
That's the gap,
and that's me, man. So terrible. If I don't understand it, what more anything else?
Yeah.
So it's horrible. It's quite horrible.
I mean, I know, like, the latest book that you published, When Mama Fell.
Okay. Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like it stemmed from your experience taking care of your elderly mom.
Yes.
And realizing that there are loopholes in the medical system that maybe we are not aware of if we just believe the narrative. Am I right to say that?
Yes, correct. I mean, for goodness sake, I mean, do you think anyone can understand the different kinds of, the means test, the kinds of subsidies you get for different things, the difference even between MediSave and MediShield or MediShield, MediShield Life. I tell you, it's crazy. And for example, I was reading the report that just came out, MediShield Life Committee, right? And basically, so they wanted to make some changes. So basically what I saw was the people they canvassed, half of them don't even know, what it is. So, so they said, I have an IP, integrated plan. I don't have MediShield. Alamak. So they don't even understand that the IP is on top of the MediShield. So, so if that is a level of understanding, then how? So, I don't see how we are going to proceed with a proper conversation if even the basics are not there.
But do you think why is there a need for everybody to understand these things?
Oh, no, I don't think there's need for everybody to understand, of course.
Yeah.
But it all depends the degree of understanding lah.
Yeah.
Hello, if I use an IP, I hope you realize that it's also your MediSave that is being used to fund it, and then you are paying more. Actually, it's something you should know because it's your money.
Yeah.
So, to say that you don't need to know everything, actually, this really, really affects you. So, but we seem to be this situation, somehow other
distract ourselves with TikTok and all that.
Whatever,
So, but is it the fault of the people or the fault of the communications from the establishment?
I
about things?
think we have been basically pampered
Mm,
over the years.
Okay.
So we are more or less told you work hard, study hard, we will take care of everything. So we got richer and richer, pampered all the way. And then we sort of forget that. So once we reach the stage, we must start also trying to see how to better everything. Just help out as well, And we don't get there, So we just want to be in this pampered stage. I mean, look, it's so simple, right? Everything goes wrong, blame the government. Sometimes not even the government's fault. But the government also sometimes would like to say it's their problem.
When it's not.
When it's not, or when it's not, they say it is. You just cannot tell the difference. The lines are blurred. So like, you talk about, let's say, Sam Cobb or whatever, suddenly it comes out in Parliament, you're wondering, where the hell are this, the people, like, the media. Amazing, right? I mean, the minister is answering questions on the media, not the media answering questions about itself, for crying out loud. I mean, this is like...
Which case was this?
So many times. When they asked Jo Teo, right?
Yeah.
Josephine Teo about it, and she answered about the KPIs and whatever. And then you wonder, where's the media and all this?
I see.
Answer yourself lah.
Because they'll take umbrage at the questions, right? That's the problem lah.
Who takes umbrage?
SPH takes umbrage at a lot of things.
Oh, no. I mean, I don't know. I think they're in a very weird position of having to take money from the government, from the taxpayers, right?
Yeah.
And then not being able... And actually, once you take money, you do have to figure out what your paymaster would like or don't like. That is, I think, quite natural.
But how was it different last time? Last time was
hello,
the same,
public
right?
listed company. Hand over fees, okay, make money.
That's true.
Hand over fees.
So do you think that had a big part to play?
Of course. I mean, when you are financially independent, hey, quite a big difference, no?
Yeah. But how much of that is due to where generally journalism and the business of newspapers are around the world? Like, around the world, there are very few newspapers that you can say are really like, it's so much more successful than they were 20 years ago, right?
Yes.
How much of it is out of our control like in Singapore?
Okay, I agree. I think quite a lot of it is out of control because we are a damn small country. And then the proliferation of other types of media means advertising goes elsewhere. And of course, the intervention of short media, like yours, also means that there's much less appetite for longish news or big news. So it's all not working very well for media, the traditional ones. Yeah.
So do you like every day? Do you wake up and think, media is off the cliff, or is there something that excites you or makes you optimistic about the future of media in Singapore specifically?
No, nothing.
Nothing.
I see it going down the cliff and off, drowning inside the ocean. Okay? No, I'm serious. Basically, I know people will say, Bertha got X to grind, but I tell you, you compare the quality then and the quality maybe 10, 15 years ago, you can see the difference. Have you seen any commentary of note lately on anything that we've talked about just now, right? Your NTUC thing, have you seen? Zero. Hello.
So what would be good commentary in your opinion?
Anything that is happening now that, that deserves to be highlighted in some way.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's see what's been happening.
But there were articles that covered the NTUC Alliance income, breaking down what happened, like why. So what would be a good commentary? How would that be different?
Which one? On what?
The Income Alliance merger that didn't go through.
I've not really seen any great commentary,
So what would great commentary look like? Because there were a lot of articles that came out.
Yes. Right? Actually, the thing that people don't realize is that when the government says that, it will go back and redo, right? Because this money, I mean, basically what happened to that $43 million thing. But other people have found out that actually there were payouts already. In the past, to the shareholders. So actually, this one is a very big amount. So what is the problem then? Is it a private company or not? You know, or can he do his own thing? Can he really maintain his mission when it is a private company? So there are a lot of big picture issues here that are not being answered. And of course, the key thing is, where are the people in income now? Don't you think you should get back to them? That to ask them? I mean, I'm not even talking about commentaries, I'm talking about reporting. The right thing to do now is go back to NTUC and ask Lim Boon Heng and everybody else, you know, now that the government has thrown this pana in the works, what are you going to do? But you see, so I actually am more a reporter, than a commentator, because you can't comment on anything. You have nothing to comment on.
And if a journalist tells you, Bertha, I tried to ask NTUC, they say don't want, then what do I do?
Well, then you have to try again, my dear. No, I mean, seriously, nobody said it was easy.
Yeah.
No, the thing is, I would have asked, how hard you try? If you can't get Lim Boon Heng, did you try anybody else in the committee? Did you try and doorstop someone? Did you try and lay in wait and pounce on someone? Or send a million questions every day? So you see, so there must be hard work. You know, and so basically when people say commentaries, I always say, can we look at the reporting? Reporting, we haven't heard anything, right? We haven't heard anything from NTUC.
Yeah. That's something we also were talking about on
exactly.
Podcast.
So
it's weird.
It's really weird. So where is Lim Boon Heng now? Where is income now? No, what does the Labour chief say? Nothing. So if you want to do a good job of journalism, you should chase it down. And if they don't want to talk, you must find some way to either make them talk or make people who are close to the business talk. But now it seems like government must always have last say. Like the MRT thing.
Yeah.
Right? So, okay, what euphemisms were we thrown earlier? Basically, that something was, what was it? The train, it was, the box?
Yeah, something dropped in.
Yeah. What did they say? Mechanical something, whatever.
It didn't derail that, yeah.
Oh, it was the axle, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You know, but you camouflage it with all these biggish things that can mean anything. That's not correct.
But hearing you say that you didn't try hard enough, you have to try. But what drives you, or what drives a good journalist? Like for you, why is it so important that this info must get out there? These questions must be asked.
Because my credibility is at stake. I mean, I don't want to have a byline on a report which is half-baked. You know, I just hope that journalists realize first what is half-baked. Okay, so if they don't even realize what's half-baked, then they will always get half-baked reports or quarter-baked, okay? So that's the main drive.
So it's your personal reputation.
It's doing a good job, but do you know what a good job is or not? And you know what a good job entails? Sometimes, it entails a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
But then, so, I mean, everybody has to work hard. You also work hard. And the thing about being journalist that you advantage over every other job is that you have a platform to complain, man. I mean, you can complain. I mean, you put out an article and sing about your own work.
Yeah.
You think what? The poor fella in the factory got this kind of line of complaint. So sometimes when I see journalists complaining about their job in public, I want to cry.
But now it almost feels like the identity of the journalist is almost kind of played down a lot. Do you think, was it different last time?
What do you mean?
Like in the sense that if you ask me who are some ST journalists that are the people to talk about politics, no names come to mind.
Oh, that's because they have all gone.
So that means back then there were people
more.
who
They've
were...
stayed long time.
And they were established as this the person.
Yeah. I mean, Christopher Tan has just retired.
Yeah.
Salma is more or less only on, certain things only. A lot of people have quit or retired. So before, some of the best ones, before they can get into higher positions, sometimes they already go. So you have a very thin middle layer who cannot pass it down. You see? So he's basically blind, teaching the blind how to walk, that kind of thing. So that's the problem there.
So,
I know they hate me. I know they will say, "Walao, better," go on and on and on and on. But I am very concerned, because, everything the country and citizens know or don't know, depends on the media doing its work, no? And this is not just politics, no, everything.
So,
Mhm.
I mean, on that note, like, what do you think are the biggest questions not being asked right now? Like,
Wow.
which topics?
In
Because
what area?
there's been a lot going on recently, right?
Too many.
But for you, in the top of your mind, like, what do you think is not being asked enough or covered enough by the mainstream media?
Everything.
Cost of living.
Okay. I think cost of living is very undercovered.
Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes when I see the reports about CPI, core inflation, and all that, they're just numbers. I think we should do the people a favor and go and find out what it's like down there. You know, so I don't see enough coverage. And those sort of things is easy for journalists to do. It's just that you have to take time now. So basically, if I, for example, want to, do a sort of pilot experiment, right? I will go to, say, all the hawker centers in Toa Payoh.
Yeah.
And then I go, every single one, I ask, have you raised your prices in the last 6 months? You know, then I will have a couple bomb, I will have 100 stalls. All 100 stalls have raised price of what. So, so it's a microcosm. I can't cover whole of Singapore, But this tells you, so people will know, oh my God, no, buy fishball noodle, go up 50 cents, kind of thing. So you have something to sink your teeth in, I'm afraid, or you can chew on it or whatever. But you have got some facts. So if you say cost of living, there are a lot of things that can be done without any need to go for official comment. A lot of things can be done.
But in the business of journalism, like as a career also, do journalists have that much reign to put this much effort into a piece? Or is it now it's all about churning news?
So I don't know, you see. So basically, what is the load lah?
Yeah.
What is the load? Frankly speaking, I look at, when I see the output, I don't think it's very much at all. Because if you look at it, most of it are press releases. Do you know, if you give a good journalist 10 press releases, he can probably do it very quickly. You give it to me, I can do it very quickly. Especially if there's no need for any value added.
You're just reporting and summarizing.
Just reporting what, and probably can write it better.
Yeah.
So So when I see those things, I wonder what you're doing. I'm waiting, waiting for assignments or what. Every day I can see assignments. I just have to open the paper, I can see assignments. So, so are they doing it or not? Or are they strapped? I don't think they are strapped. I think they just don't have enough people in the middle who can edit. And when I say edit, I mean tell people how to go about doing some things, what to do, what to chase, that kind of thing.
Is it because journalism is like a less coveted career now, do you feel? Like, what is there a talent issue? Is there a talent
I
drain?
don't know now. I don't know about now. But I know that when I entered, I was with 1,000 people, applicants.
I see.
Yeah.
I think because now I would imagine a lot of people feel they can be a journalist just by
anyhow, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I used to be able to boast that if you want to be a good journalist, you must go to the Straits Times. Because down there, you really will get
training and all that.
Totally thrown in. I don't care. You give me 50 interviews, whatever. You go and find this fellow, you stick out overnight, whatever. And you will be so hardened, right? That your work actually does not get harder. It gets easier. All the best journalists find work will get easier because you've mastered so many little skills, and then you just will be able to coast. I mean, you go and ask people like Krista or whatever. Hey, he comes to work early and goes home early. He gets his everything done.
Yeah.
Now, this is what an experienced journalist does.
Because you have the network also.
Everything is on your fingertips. You know this, you know that issue. It's easy. Journalism is not a job that gets harder. It gets easier, especially if you are reporting. Now, if you're editing, of course, it's a whole different ballgame. Because once you go higher up the level, the decisions, that are quite different. And the parameters, the factors, all different.
So, I mean, in some way, is that what spurred you also to write When Mama Falls?
No, actually, okay, look at it this way. I mean, my mother, I'm very close to my mother. We're both very close. And I basically, when she had her fall, I just posted on Facebook something to say that, and a lot of people empathize, So that was nice.
And that was 2 years ago.
No, this was just December.
Oh, December.
December,
I see.
okay.
Oh, yes.
Just December.
Yeah.
So I started posting, a few updates here and there. And then, I realized there was a lot of reaction. And there were also a lot of people who said that they wanted to write something of their own experiences, but they never came around to it.
Yeah.
And then I will come up, I will thank one person for pointing the way, and that is Paul Tembaya. Paul Tembaya saw what was happening and said, you should do something more with this. You tell people what to do. So he said maybe a how-to book or whatever. So I thought about it, and then when my mom came home, right? So I was thinking through and came up with a concept. So the concept was narrative, come reflections, come how to, and then get other caregivers involved. I mean, the outpouring of people who have been through this is so tremendous.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been through it, and all of them say, I don't know what to do. When the point comes, I don't know what to do.
And I think this was interesting. There's the very human story of you, even like the process of following her to her treatment and back home and everything. But interspersed with that is a lot of like facts and what agencies and things like that you need to look at. So I thought it's quite an interesting approach in terms of how you wrote it. Are you hoping, what's the target demographic? You're hoping for people who are in that situation to be able to read the book?
Yeah, frankly speaking, anybody who's got parents who are now 60, 70, they should get it.
And maybe if you can give us the overview of, like, there are 3 parts, right? Like what exactly it covers.
The first part was a bit before the fall. I mean, so you must talk about what her condition is like first, right? So the fall, and then basically what she had to go through before. So knee operation or whatever, a hip operation, all that. Then comes the fall itself, and the immediate aftermath, which is the hospitalization stage, right? So down there, what happens between what you need to do. Then the third stage, your rehab. So your community hospital, and then balik kampung really lah. So how do you get prepared for that stage? What do you have to go through? So that's how I conceptualize it into 3 parts. Yeah. So because we are doing it online, I must credit my designer. Okay, my designer Cheyenne Yi, whom by the way I only knew on Facebook.
Okay.
I don't know him personally, but we have been like.
And he designed the illustrations and the graphics.
He designed the whole thing.
Oh, the whole thing. Okay.
The ebook,
the ebook, the whole thing. How to paginate, whatever, edit, that. I have I brought in a graphic person.
Okay.
To draw some stuff. Yeah. So so it was quite wonderful. I mean, I had a great time. I mean, basically, to me as a journalist, it was a marriage of what you call the WED system.
Okay.
Yeah, writing, editing, and design. It was to me a great example. So basically the 2 of us, coming together to say, okay, this is how we're going to put the whole thing together.
Yeah.
So I was very pleased with that. And he was the one who came out with the Too Long Didn't Read segment.
Yes.
And made suggestions about how to redo the signpost part. Yeah. So it was, to me, so cathartic. And an example basically of utilizing the skill of a journalist on a subject, so complicated.
Yeah.
So, of course, I mean, I had to go ask a lot of questions, right? I mean, some of the things, when you are in that, the problem is people who want to write about these things at that will not be able to remember what happened at that point in time. Because it's already so, gabra, or agog. Like for me, it was the same, right? So I have to go back and ask, right?
Yeah.
Ask, hey, by the way, at that time, what did you exactly say to me? So you have to do some reporting, go back and do some reporting work. So it was, for me, it was a lot of skills involved, right? You want to report, you want to give advice, you want to make sure that it's readable, you want to make it human interest as well. So all the skills, in my view, came together. So that was, to me, fantastic. It's so cathartic that I've done I've used everything within my own experience to try and put it across.
Well, when you say it like that, because earlier you said the media industry falling off a cliff, everything. But what you describe is how I see a lot of, publications, like smaller publications like Jom and Sudi and all, trying to work with journalists and creatives and all coming together, a small team. Do you think there's a future for that kind of, smaller publications?
Of course, there's always a future. It's whether you can make money.
I guess that's the future you were talking about. Whether
what
got
future
money,
are you talking about?
Exactly.
No, I mean, basically, this experience talking, so you have to pay for experience as well.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then the thing is how people appreciate it, right? Like, I'm quite chuffed with mine. I'm turning my book into a hard copy, So I basically taking orders now.
Okay.
So basically, okay lah. I say, you just tell me how many copies you want. I'll get it printed or whatever. Then certain time you come and collect lah. And then you want I put autograph as well. So there are a lot of people who still want hard copy work. So for me, it's so good lah. I mean, I've got it online. I've got it in print. So that to me, is, I don't know, nirvana.
Just a little pro tip lah. The Gen Zs these days, they don't do autograph. They must take selfie.
You can come. I already told people that I will autograph first. But when you come and collect, and the times I'm there, you can whatever.
Maybe the target demographic not Gen Zs.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly. Yes. Wrong.
In fact, if you want a selfie, I'm not selling you the
no hard copy for you.
No hard copy for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Correct.
No, but what are some of the things that you uncovered in your journey, that even surprised you, with regards to the medical system?
Oh my God! I just found out how very complicated it is. I mean, the kind of the means testing, the gradations of who gets how much subsidy is so fine. And so basically, I think most of us, we just go in there and then say, can you use MediSave or not? Can you use MediShield or not?
And you just take the answer.
And just take the bloody answer, and then you just hope and pray that at the end you can afford it. So it shows a few things. One is we then both up.
Secondly, not asking the right questions.
Yeah, we just want to be taken care of. Which a bit not very good. I mean, like this, you really need to have a great deal of trust in the system. The system But if you don't have trust in the system, you must at least make an effort to understand it. And I tell you, understanding it is damn tough. All the different levels of subsidies and whatever is so hard to get through. That's why sometimes you hear people say, just take over, NHS system or whatever, pay for everybody. But in Singapore, that's not the way. That's not the official line of thinking, right? So you also have to pay for yourself and kind of thing. And when you do that, and then you want to be fair over something that's a necessity, it must have plenty of little hooks here and there, hooks and here and hooks and here. And it makes it unwieldy, So basically, recently they've tried to do something. They tried to align community hospital subsidies with main hospitals. Okay, it makes sense. So I don't go there and suddenly only this much.
Yeah.
But so I'm hoping maybe if there's more alignment, that will be good lah. Some people don't even understand that. I go to like if you have MediShield, IP. That people with MediShield IP should just use their IP. But they still want to go and stay in a B2 or C class or what, Actually, because you see, people don't understand, they're scared. Even though they're covered.
So is that a gap that you think can actually be filled? Because sometimes, even recently my wife gave birth, and going through that system, I'm like, oh shit, do I really want to go into the nitty-gritties of the bill? Of course, there's that trust in the system. In the end, I did, and it was very illuminating.
You went into a nitty-gritty system?
Yeah, I got on a call saying, hey, what is this line item? What is this line item? Because if I just took it at face value, I mean, it's not a small amount, right? But there were a lot of things that I learned.
But then, they ask you, what is the point of your question?
Oh, no, never. I asked politely. I never found from them outside the hospital. Because they gave up the answers quite willingly.
Yes, yes.
But do you think that it's one of those things that even when you take yourself out of the medical system, when it comes to politics, right, you think things can be simplified or explained in a way that actually makes sense? Because sometimes things are damn complicated.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't think it's healthy for us to go down, okay, it's so complicated, I'm not going to try and understand. But as a journalist, do you feel that anything, no matter how complex, it can be distilled into a way that most people will be able to understand?
Depends how much of it. You know, so you can, for example, I mean, the strategy right now is to tell you, oh, don't worry, this is covered by MediSave. This is, you can use MediShield. Your out-of-pocket will be this much. You know, they give you just the things that they think you are most interested in, right? Yeah. And that's it. Yeah. And I think most people are satisfied with that. But I think that if you want to know more, you want to have, you want to dig inside further, then you got to do a lot of work, you know, about, you know, how, you know, the subsidies are all different for everything. It is so complicated that, you know, so you have the cancer medicine, you have, I'll give you one example. You know, there are these things called CHAS cards.
Yeah.
Right? So CHAS cards, everybody can apply. Right? So okay, but then you have 3 different levels of CHAS. Then this thing called Healthier SG. You have to sign up for. If you go to a CHAS appointed clinic, it's not the same as going for a CHAS which is also on Healthy SG. You know, it's actually very complicated.
Like, I always get confused between Health Buddy and Health Hub.
Oh, Health Hub is the main one. Yeah. The main ministry one. Yeah. So Health Buddy is only for Sing Health.
Yeah, that's what I discovered recently.
And then there's another one now. Yeah. It just happened, I think, a couple of months ago. The National Health Group.
NHG Cares.
Something like that.
Yeah. Which I also downloaded recently. Then I'm like, oh my God, like,
how many do you have?
How many do you have?
And then have you downloaded Healthy 365?
Yes, I have.
Because, you know, in case, I don't think a lot of people highlighted this except in CNA. The last MediShield review, they actually said that they want to link Healthy 365 with points or something. So that means, wow, I mean, I don't know how.
The healthier you are, the more rewards you get.
Something like that. You know, so to me, it's like, oh my God, you know, it's going to be another layer.
But then people also say that, I mean, that is how the bureaucracy is, and Singapore's bureaucracy already works a lot more efficiently than a lot of other healthcare systems in the world, right? Are we almost unrealistic in the, you know, requiring it to not only be comprehensive but also simple such that everybody can understand it?
I think at the end of the day, you have to come down to how many principles you want for public healthcare. What are those principles? So, you know, do you want everybody to be taken care of? How much of a role the government plays? Yeah. And you have to keep it to a few basic points. But in our system, there are so many points. I mean, everything is like calibrated into God knows what.
Yeah.
And the reason is done, as said, is that it's fair distribution. It's a fairer distribution, right? That depends on whether you think a fairer distribution equals to everybody deserves healthcare. You know, so there are basically a lot of very high level sort of principles which sometimes conflict with each other, you know. So we have to make a decision which one, you know. So I don't know how to do that, but you can look at other places. They could be more instructive in the way they look at healthcare as a government, you know, something the government gives, you know. So, frankly speaking, I think the whole thing should be torn down and built up again.
Wow.
No, I'm serious. I think it should be torn down and built up again. You know, because we are adding so many levels. You know, okay, if we are happy about being led by the nose, that's fine. Which means that you entail a lot of trust in the system.
That's right.
You know, it really means you must trust the system. Now, I hope that the people running the system are always worthy of our trust. Because if not, we won't know either. That to me is the danger.
So how do you feel about that? Like compared to the people last time running the system versus the people now? Do you feel that for you yourself, like you feel you trust them more, or you trust them the same as before? What, like
Because now
how?
you've been through 3 PMs already.
Oh
Correct,
my,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I think basically, I think, I keep hearing this word continuity. And sometimes I think we should not think only in those terms. Because the continuity of some policies have made it even more complex.
Yeah.
And, so do we want to continue with basic principles and therefore, graft more and more and more and more and more into it? Look at housing. Wow, don't know what subsidy here, pop, right?
Yeah.
Every single group also you want to try and make them happy here and there, right? So they try one thing, now it hasn't really taken off, like this whole prime,
Plus
standard,
that kind of thing. Not quite taken off yet. I don't know what's the impact. But at least there's an attempt to try and, fix it in a more understandable way.
Yeah.
So I think basically, continuity sounds nice, right? It's like status quo, don't rock the boat, kind of thing. But I think if things get too complex, you need a whole different paradigm, to run the system. One of it is healthcare. Is that you look at what happened to public transport, right? In the beginning, public transport, run by MRT, whatever, LTA hands off, and then now what has happened? LTA is also a sort of stakeholder and regulator. And then you have got the private transport companies whose job is basically to run operations.
Yeah.
And then you think to yourself, regulator and also a stakeholder, whose job? Who am I going to blame if anything goes wrong? So, so a blurring of lines. And, the public transport system has also gone through tremendous changes. So sometimes I think it is time, I think, that people sit down and look through all the major ones, transport, housing, health, and see whether what has served us well so far will continue to serve us well. But nobody is doing it.
Do you think we have the bandwidth to do that sort of shake-up?
I would hope so. I mean,
I'm just asking because I also think that, because even in the past when we have covered other things that Singapore has done in the 70s, 80s, it really felt like there were so many things that they were the first in the world to try. But understanding also at that point in time, we were a young nation, the world was very different. Now it almost feels like if we stop, then everything we hear, economy, inflation, there's so many things to balance. Do we have the bandwidth to kind of like, okay, really look at the structural stuff and break it down?
Without breaking down, is it?
Yeah.
I think we should try. Okay, when was the last time we tried? We tried this with Heng's Wicket, our Singapore conversation. I think the impact of that was probably most seen in education. Where all the gradings and all that all change. So there's something there. So that was sort of tweaked. Yeah.
And that was when?
Oh my God, I don't know.
Let me Google it.
2015.
When he was still in the running, right?
2015. Our Singapore conversation that point in time. So now already 10 years already. But now we have this Forward Singapore. Which I think I'm afraid to say is pretty lame.
Lame, okay.
Lame. I say it's lame because unlike our Singapore conversation, which was a like blank space, can redo, write, whatever.
Yeah.
The Forward Singapore one was very constrained. If you go and look at part, they don't want to rock any boat, no. They basically just want to see what policy should be tweaked here and there. It was nowhere at the scope of our Singapore conversation, where it was turn every stone. So
and that happened in 2013, our Singapore conversation.
Correct. This right after the 2011 GE. So that one was really massive. There was really couple bomb. A lot of people got involved in that.
But also because it was after 2011, which was like a watershed moment in
politics. Fine.
So that, right?
Okay, so this is an attempt to provide a listening ear. And
after the election finishes, then there's the big conversation that comes.
Yeah. But this conversation was, I don't know when, the Forward Singapore one. But I was very annoyed because it was so constrained. And they made it clear. that they were going only to talk about this and not this, and don't shake foundations. It wasn't a shake foundations thing.
I see.
But
So-
do you think like society in general, like right now, we get caught up with things that are not the critical things we need to look at? For example, rising costs definitely. But when it comes to, what would be an example?
Oxley Road.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
Oxley
Road,
or ride out,
Ah,
spending that much time in parliament. Because you can understand the impact politically,
Yeah.
public sentiment. And all. But when you step back, because we went to sit in parliament also when they were discussing the whole ride out thing, and they were taking so much time of parliament to discuss this, which is it has implications. But sometimes do you feel that in general, the whole political system, media, society gets caught up with stuff that is not the biggest priority?
Well, okay, it could be, but I think I would first of all disagree with you on how they are not big priorities lah. Okay, so I have
Okay.
to make that clear.
Yes, please.
So,
Yeah.
for example, for Ride Out Road, I think it's a very big issue because it concerns the integrity of the government and whether or not it is using its powers for its own self. So, to me, that deserves something. Yeah. Now, Oxley Road, I think is a bloody waste of time. Okay. In fact, I'm just basically my position on Oxley is very simple. Look, we went through this long time ago, 2017, God knows when, how many years, right?
Yeah.
We went over it. And then you already came to a decision, right? You say future government, 3 scenarios. And now, your turn now, you have to say which one now. And you still dilly-dally. Whatever for? You have got 3 scenarios. You make a decision now.
Yeah.
Then we can get over this hurdle. So I think that was a waste of time.
But it's so sensitive. Like so many Singaporeans have such an emotive connection to Lee Kuan
Agree.
Yew and
Yes,
all.
I agree. So so it is going to be hard to make any kind of decision without. But the fact remains that you took a long time in the past to come up with something that says will take you forward.
Yeah.
So for goodness sake, do it.
So are you team demolish or team preserve or
Frankly, I don't bloody care.
team I don't care?
I don't care.
Which is a big team also. It's a big team.
Yeah, that's why I cannot understand why it's so such a big deal.
And
no?
it's still more to come because now they have submitted it to the committee that will decide whether it's going to be a heritage monument or
Oh
not.
man, come on.
Yeah, so they're going to have to revisit that.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
But I mean, just
Oh, please.
related to all that also, you're saying we're talking about continuity and all that. Is there too much reverence for what the previous generation of leaders did for Singapore? Are we holding on too much to it? Like, stickers of Lee Kuan Yew still on, car decals still
It's
around
okay
and all that.
It's okay lah.
But doesn't that add to people not wanting to rock the boat, like especially the current generation of leadership?
Okay. I think being beholden to policy is very different from being beholden to principles. Yeah. So I think a lot of his principles should stick around.
Okay, Lee Kuan Yew's
Lee Kuan Yew's principles. I mean, business of, incorruptibility, especially, of making difficult choices. I think a lot of it could stick around. But even within these principles, I think some policies can go and still keep to it. So the reverence business, I have no problems. If we basically the man, for all his faults and whatever, was a great leader. But to keep harping back to him and only going on the greatness and not the rest, that's not very good. Because there are some things which he did too, which, people wouldn't like. People don't like. I mean, you go and look, stop at 2 or whatever, forced sterilization, hello. So these kinds of things people don't want. Yeah. So he said it was for the good of the country, but it has ramifications, right?
Yeah.
For the future and for the way people think that they should have a right to run their lives. So the reverence of the people then, I think, is totally understandable. Because he did bring lives up to a very high level. But the younger people and reverence, I think that will decline. That will decline. In fact, they will say it as pretty archaic. So the government, if you want to look at the government today, it's got to take both into account. If you keep harping on Lee Kuan Yew, then your younger generation will say, You got no new idea.
Mm.
Or some things that work in the past may not work now, huh?
Mm.
And in fact, some things will have actually the wrong effect. I mean, you can sort of blame stop at 2 for our current birthday, right?
Yeah.
You can, there's so many things you can blame past policies for, no?
Yeah.
So good and bad. I don't know lah. I mean, there's too much reverence. I think in this instance, I rather rely on Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's own words. He didn't want it.
He didn't want Oxley to be preserved.
Yeah, but he didn't want to be a cult figure or whatever.
Sure.
He didn't want it. He himself didn't want it. And he made it so clear he didn't want it. So what the hell
But
are
then
we
there was
up
the
to?
other letter he sent to the parliament saying, if it needs to be preserved, preserve it in this way.
Oh,
Then-
yeah. So he had caveats some more, no?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, the main thing is this, you see. What does he want? He wants it demolished. No doubt about it. Then, of course, the government say, but he's also open to preserving it, which is not the same as he wants it demolished, okay?
Yeah.
And if he wants it preserved, he also made a condition attached, which is people have to live in it.
Yeah.
So how?
So submit to another committee now.
So I
Just now you mentioned there's, sticking to being beholden to policy and versus principles. On another interview, I recall you mentioned that, you remember a time when politicians or sometimes politicians, people forget they're human, and like all humans, they are good men.
Yes.
And they are not so good.
Yeah.
Do you think we have lost sight about placing an emphasis on character?
Yes. I think so. I think we are now so into this stage where what can you do for me lah?
But how was it last time? Last time also should have been the same, right?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, hello, I'm not that old lah. Okay. I mean, so basically, character. I mean, sometimes I think the PAP tries to make character an issue, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it backfires. You see, if you want to make character an issue, then everybody is fair play.
So what is a good person in your eyes? Like a good politician? As in a good person, like
first.
good character. Yeah, good character.
To
Not a
consider.
good politician, just a good character.
Okay.
They should be in politics.
Yeah,
right?
they should be in politics.
Okay.
Like for example, the things in the past year that have, put a taint on what it means to be a good person in politics.
Yeah.
In politics, there's that extramarital affairs.
Oh,
you
you mean that kind of good?
As in, is that a kind of symptom of being not good?
I see. Okay. First of all, okay. Oh, that kind of good. Okay. So basically, frankly, I think people can separate some things from what you do. So if I'm a politician, I got a million extramarital affairs or whatever it is, but I can still make sure I do my job in serving the people I want to serve. Then I would say okay. Because it also means I don't want to set my moral standards on you. When I say good, it's not about setting my moral standards on you. So it's about whether or not you are doing a good job and you're being good about serving the people you say you want to serve. So frankly, I can't be bothered. Yeah.
But
So
do you think that was a issue? Let's say Tan Chuan Jin, his extramarital affair. Do you think that was
Integrity issue.
a reflection of integrity?
okay, that depends on who. Okay, who's it? This whole thing about extramarital affairs was something the PAP started a long time ago. Even though there were some extramarital affairs in the past, right? It was never really made a big deal lah. But of course, when the opposition has won, it becomes a big deal lah.
Yeah.
And then of course, when you make it a big deal, the other side will say fair game. I will also make it a big deal lah.
Yeah.
So that's how it all starts, right? Or not, maybe we'll all be very quiet. We know, but we say never mind lah, close one eye or whatever. So basically, what is your question?
So because I was saying, my earlier question about what is good, have we lost sight of placing emphasis on good character? Do you
Okay.
see something like Tan Chuan Jin's affair
Oh, okay.
being a
Okay,
reflection
fine.
of not good character?
No. Frankly speaking, you see, I don't care what he does with his own time. That's his wife's business and his business and whatever. But I do care about what I see as a citizen. And I do not like this idea that he was standing in parliament with all these things and he was going to be booted out and change constitution for how many months, and they couldn't get him out. And I'm there like an idiot watching parliament proceedings. I do not like that. So basically, all your pious nonsense about, you can go and moralize about people's character and all that sort of thing. But then I don't care. But then you have this funny fiasco, a facade, being paraded in front of the rest of us. I don't like it.
But if he was doing his job as Speaker of Parliament, doing his job as an MP?
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Because, the point is, the Prime Minister wanted him to go. And by the way, I don't know because he was Speaker and the other woman is an MP. So even if there's nothing that was done, the perception itself is a conflict of interest. So I really don't like being made a fool of. That this it's like, so hunky-dory. All these things simmering. And frankly speaking, I have said it often and I will say it again. I think there should be a committee of privileges, put up for how this thing goes on. And, can you imagine? There are some people sitting in parliament, no, but never mind. Hello, what is this? What am I? Just down there watching, never mind. But you see, the trouble is I'm quite old-fashioned in that way. I don't think people care.
People don't care enough about the procedural aspects of how that came across, the perception, like you said, of conflict of interest.
I don't think it's procedural. It is
morals.
It's not procedural. It just smacks of something very salah. So I cannot tahan. I'm sitting. I watch Parliament all the time.
Slimy, yeah.
Sneaky.
Sneaky.
It's a bit sneaky. Yeah, and I cannot for the life believe Mr. Lee Hsien Loong saying that, we had to wait to find him another seat. I cannot.
It's counselling for 2 years.
Right. That's right.
I was so flabbergasted. I said, are you kidding me? No.
Yeah.
So, that one I did like.
Okay. So, in general, just thinking about younger generations of Singaporeans, what worries you or what you feel worried about when you see this younger generation of Singaporeans and the kind of things they'll be facing in the future?
Oh my God, you want to get me cancelled or what?
No, it's a genuine question. Like, what worries you in general about the future for these Singaporeans?
What doesn't worry me is probably more important. What worries me about the younger people?
Yeah,
I don't know. I was with the University Melio. That was quite fun. Yeah. Frankly, I don't know enough about the young people except from what I hear. You have all these things about strawberries and snowflakes and God knows what else, right? And people say they're entitled and God knows. But you know something, I always tell people who say that, you probably said the same thing about me when I was younger. So, so let's not let ageism get in the way, okay? Because, when you get older, you say the same thing about 2 generations down, So the question is whether or not this kind of the attitudes of the generation is appropriate for the time. Whether this kind of attitudes will help them along or not. I think that should be more what it's about. So I don't know. I hear from employers especially, the kinds of demands that are being put on employers about, on working, and they're all worried about that part. I don't want to work these hours, I don't want to this, I don't want to that, and then I want work-life balance. So, I don't know how to deal with that. I know some people come to me and I tell them, this is the way I work. My work is very simple. I tell people, this is the job. You work very hard. You can, maybe you need to give up your life a bit, but I tell you only for 1 year. After that, you should coast. That was in journalism.
Yeah.
So I say, you work very hard and you should get better. You should get better later, So I don't know what employers tell their juniors now. So, but it's it's crazy. I have got uni students coming out of school and say, I need a gap year. Okay. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Or they are at work for 2 years. They say, I'm burnt out.
Yeah.
Are you mad? Do you know what burnout is?
Singapore has the third highest rates of burnout.
According to who? By the people who say they are burnt out.
Yeah.
Okay. Not by any other standard, but their own standard.
Yeah.
But they do live in quite complex times, right? I mean, roles aren't so clearly defined. Like for us, we get a lot of people saying, "Hey, I want to be a content creator. Can you teach me how to be?"
Oh my God!
But they're not. I think the thing is that they don't even know what they want to create, what kind of content.
Okay,
so
agree.
But they just feel like that's
next
a
sector
job.
lah.
They think it's easy, like.
It is easy, but like we talk about journalism, all that. The roles of a journalist, like versus like a TikTok creator, all that, starting to blur. It's quite hard to navigate, and I feel like sometimes, unfortunately for young people, their brains also haven't caught up with how the internet is, and there's a lot of opportunities, but also means that it's not so defined what roles you can take in life. Like, so I do feel a sense of like, I can't blame them entirely, for having all this uncertainty and doubts
I tell
about
you,
the future.
there's just one quality. First of all, you must be prepared to work hard. Full stop.
Yeah.
Okay, for anything, whether whatever content creator or whatever thing, that is your first principle. Now, if you cannot even get that first principle right, then I don't know what to say.
But then you read the book like the 4-hour work week and all that.
I know.
Work
I don't like.
So you cannot. You're a journalist who work with you cannot do 4-hour work week.
No, if they deserve it, yes. So for example, over the years, right, I have no problem. Take a day off, go. Hey, hello, if you have done your time, you deserve it. If you have not done your time and you have not even been tested as worth my time, then I don't see why I should let you have this kind of advantages. So that's how I work. So I always tell people, for example, okay, I tell you what, you work for me, 1 year, basically, you better give up your life a bit. Because 1 year, I will focus on you.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'll be there, everything, and then make sure you get up to speed somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? Then after that, I will let you go. Because you should have some strengths already, and then you should use your strengths. You have some weakness, but at this stage, there's somebody else I have to go turn my attention to. You got to go and fix your own weaknesses. So that's the deal I have when I manage people. I will focus on you in this part. Then after that, I will use your strengths. You go and fix your weaknesses. If you fix your weaknesses, I will use both. Then you'll be all more strengths. So I think that's the thing, I think most managers don't have a philosophy. So if your philosophy is clear right at the beginning, then I think people know how to fall in line. So I always make it very clear, this is me. There's no bullshit about me. So this is my expectations and this is my expectation of you. If you don't like it, got the door down there.
So are you still accepting applications or people who want to work with you?
No, I mean, I am semi-retired, my dear. Yeah. No. I no longer. I'm semi-retired.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I see. Oh, but I mean, if people wanted to find out more about like what you do, your book, where should they go online?
Oh, www.whenmamafell.com.
Whenmamafell.com.
So it's already out there. It's released and the
It's
public
there
can
already.
access it and all.
No, all 3 chapters are out. In fact, I'm going to put out a downloadable version soon.
I
So
see.
download. Okay, so it's a free ebook.
Yes.
That soon you will put as a downloadable
Yes.
PDF. But you're also producing a hard copy
Yes.
version and taking pre-orders now.
Yeah.
Where can people order that?
Oh,
hard copy version?
it's on Google Docs.
Google Docs. Okay. As in the link.
But you got to go to.
I mean, we can put
My
the link
FB.
in the
Yeah,
in the show notes.
Please.
Yeah. So we'll put the link to When Mama Fell, your Facebook profile, the link to submit an order for the book.
Yeah.
In
If you
advance.
go to my FB, you can see all there already.
Okay.
Okay.
Anywhere else that people where you write or anything that people can look up and find out more about you?
Your writing.
Huh?
Instagram.
Oh, I have a
selfies.
blog.
Oh, blog. Okay.
And that's BerthaHenson.com.
Yes, correct. And it's called Bertha Harian.
Bertha Hari.
It used to be hari,
Ah.
now a bit hard.
I see.
You see, I always make a distinction between what I write as a column and what I post on Facebook. If I write a column, you'll go to my blog. And when I write a column, I will impose all the rules of whatever journalism, all that, and make it watertight,
Yeah.
But when I put on FB, it means a bit champalang. Yeah.
I
So
see.
I make that distinction.
So people should check out both lah.
Yeah, although usually I do put both on board, except for my only Facebook ones.
Yeah,
the blog one,
correct.
of course, I will post on FB.
Yeah. And I think both of us have been following your postings for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I can see the difference lah between your Facebook and your blog posts.
Yeah.
My blog post a bit more.
Yeah, and more for the really big issues lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, cool.
Yeah. Thank you for coming by and
No
sharing
problem.
all
I
your
had
thoughts.
fun.
We have this one segment that I had not told you about yet. The last part, the one Shiok Thing lah.
Shiok Thing.
Yeah, so basically it's something we do at every at the end of every episode.
Okay.
Where to just share one thing with our listeners that maybe you have watched or read that you find shiok lah. So it's we can go first, but I mean it can be anything like anything that you have a link that we can share with our listeners lah. That's not something of yours lah. So it can be a recent article that you read or a recent TV series that you watch.
Oh,
So
like
something
that.
like- yeah. It's just something at the
So
end.
many.
Yeah, so we can go first. So you have like 1 or 2 minutes to select one, and then when we come to you, you can just talk about it for like 30 seconds, 1 minute lah.
Yeah.
It's just a segment we do at the end of every podcast with every guest, including the ministers we have come on.
Oh, so what have they said?
I think for
Give me
Minister
examples.
Shan, he was the French adaptation of the Three Musketeers.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
For Minister
Okay.
Desmond Lee, I'm not so sure.
About kayaking in Bedok Reservoir, I believe.
kayaking. And
Anyway, how is that?
It's something that
People can
someone can
still go
experience. Right? It's basically for anything that anyone on the street, when listening to this, they can go and experience for themselves after.
yeah.
So it's a news article,
Okay,
a YouTube video.
I'm ready.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Ken.
Mm.
You want to go first?
Sure. Mine's an article. Because recently, I think The Office, the show The Office, has been rebooted for Australia. When I talk to young people, young people even here, right?
Yeah.
And then they have never even watched the original The Office from the UK,
Right.
which to me is the most lovable classic. And 90% of people tell me they watch Office US. Very different. So recently, The Office UK, two of the stars from there, Martin Freeman and Stephen Merchant, right? That's his name. Yeah, the co-creator of The Office. They did end of last year. They did a 20th anniversary catch up where they talked about the creation of the show, lah.
Right.
And it's very interesting because most people know of Ricky Gervais, the main lead, right?
Yes.
But they don't know the co-creator Stephen Merchant's role in it, as well as Martin Freeman, who has gone on to,
bigger
he
things.
starred in The Hobbit and
Yes,
everything, right?
bigger things.
But
Yeah.
they came back and talked about why, those 2 seasons of The Office UK were so special and what they were trying to, the kinds of trends they were trying to buck, back then, like creating a mockumentary about, a boring office and even just to the point of like the Christmas special that they did where the climax of the show was, how they were just trying to go against the typical trends of like UK dramas where everything is very cynical and very dull. So just the way they talked about it was a very interesting read for anyone who is interested in The Office, as well as how, showrunners or executive producers of shows think about the tone, what they're trying to create to last for generations. So yeah, that was a very interesting article. Yeah. Okay, Harish, your one Shiok Thing.
Okay, Bertha, if you want to go first, if you have yours at the tip of your finger.
Frankly, I think I'm an independent journalist, so I am going to say that something people should really look at is my ex-boss's book.
Ex-boss's book, okay.
Cheong Singh,
Okay.
OB Marcus. I think if you want a fuller understanding of how the system operates, that is your go-to book. And of course, the government doesn't like the book at all.
Yeah.
And it's got so much history, the Kuan Yew's forward was taken out after that and all that. So my poor ex-boss was in a bit of a pickle.
When was it published?
Oh my goodness. 2013?
2013, okay.
I think,
so
or whatever. Yeah, I think
12
maybe
years ago.
then.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of aftermath history as well. But frankly speaking, when the book came out and I read it, I had a shock of my life
Mm.
because there were things I thought I would carry to my grave.
Oh, take it to the grave.
Take it to the grave.
Sensitive phrase right now.
And then, but it was like, resurrected and put up. So I was, wow, it was quite, I mean, for me, of course, it's no secret lah. But I think for people who are new, it was going to be terribly eye-opening. All the behind the scenes and the discussions with ministers and all that. It's all there. It's all lit up.
And where can people get the
It's on sale. It's anywhere you can get.
Okay.
Is it required reading for anybody that wants to work with you?
For me, with me, no lah.
She's not hiring already.
I'm not hiring.
Not say
already.
hiring lah, but for you to respect them and everything lah, required reading.
No, not really. I
Okay.
mean, to me, if you can string a sentence together properly, it'll be quite good.
That's good enough.
That's the best part now.
That's how low the
That's the
standards
best
have
part
fallen.
Yeah, without using, anything that has no 4 syllables.
4 syllables.
But I think Chong's book, I mean, you can, what's interesting about it is, as I said, things I thought I would never talk about. He talks about all the little fights lah, all down there.
Sure.
It's so great. In fact, I keep telling my ex-boss, Han Fu Kwang, I said, you should write one because, you had 10 years as editor.
Yeah.
During that period, a lot of things have happened. So I'm quite willing to help him, but he's like, dragging his feet. I don't know. But I think, when you read these books, it gives you a greater understanding of how Singapore is run. It's not run so clearly, It's not really like rules, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's so many other facets around it,
Yeah.
So it's very nuanced way, very sophisticated. There's another way. Yeah. So my ex-boss's book.
Okay. OB Marcus.
Okay, cool.
Okay, Harish, finally.
My one Shiok thing is, I think now, because when my kid is about 8 weeks old, so now I'm looking for music to play. And I think the last episode I recommended this one South African male choral group, which was awesome. Today, something I've been listening to recently is also called Tina Riwan.
Wait, this is music for you or for your child to listen to?
No, I just like different kinds of music lah.
To expose to your child. Okay.
So this is a sub-Saharan musical group that combines, traditional Tuareg music and Western rock music.
Oh my gosh.
And it's awesome. I don't know how I chanced upon it last time. I actually came to see them in Singapore when they came a few years ago, but now I've started listening to them again. I have no idea what they're singing about, but it's very, very chill, calming music.
It's South African.
Yeah. It's a Saharan kind of rock band lah, and they've been around for since 1979. And they won a bunch of Grammys, but it's very, very cool music lah. So that's my one
So
Shiok thing.
you've not been playing Appetit to your...
What's Appetit?
Appetit. This is the hottest song in the world right now, Harish.
Oh no, yeah.
Rosie and Bruno Mars.
No.
Everyone is Appetit.
I saw that on YouTube trending lah.
Everyone is. How can you not play it?
I mean, maybe you can rotate lah. Rotate.
Yeah.
So that's mine, Tinari one.
Cool.
But cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for
No
joining us,
problem.
Bertha.
No problem. I hope that was okay. And
Yeah. It was good and good to finally have you on because we've been following your post for quite a while. And we'll put all the links in the description.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
hopefully it helps with the book PR and awareness.
yes, thank you.
Okay.
Anyway, don't worry, I will send it to you.
And
Okay.
hopefully the next time you blow up also and there's room to come on and talk about something, we'll have you back on again. Right?
Correct.
When I blow up,
Yeah,
I
when
blow up
you-
every
when
day,
you
Find,
you know.
find something to blow up.
Okay.
Find something big to blow up.
So when
Yeah.
she posts on her blog, that's
okay,
when
then
you
we
know.
know.
Like,
Oh,
she's put it
okay,
down.
okay. Yeah.
Cool.
All
But
right.
thank you so much, Bertha.
Okay.
And
No problem.
thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And we'll talk to you all soon.